Nashville Fairgrounds is coming back. It looks like it's almost maybe definitely happening. Let's talk about it. Nashville Mayor John Cooper signed a letter of intent with Bristol Motor Speedway to renovate the Nashville Fairgrounds Speedway and bring NASCAR back to the racetrack. There's a lot to this deal, and it looks like a lot of the major roadblocks have been handled for the most part. To me, the big thing that stands out is that the city of Nashville is behind the idea of bringing NASCAR back to town. The nuts and bolts of the deal have been a little murky over the past few years. It's kind of looked like SMI was fighting a pretty major uphill battle, but it seems to me that everyone involved is committed to making this happen, and that hasn't been clear in the past. Keep in mind, we aren't 100% out of the woods just yet, however. The Board of Fair Commissioners and Metropolitan Council is responsible for approving the deal, and if the deal isn't finalized by July 31st, 2021, either party has the right to terminate the proposed deal. That could suck. Bristol is going to essentially be in charge of the renovations. I think this is a good thing because there is absolutely more to it than just putting up some safer barriers and calling it good. The Nashville Fairgrounds is a nice facility, but it does need a lot of work to be prepared for handling a NASCAR race weekend. Just purely from an infrastructure standpoint, it's far from ready. Facilities from the parking lot all the way to the infield will need a complete overhaul. It's going to be expensive, and the city is putting a lot of trust on SMI here. The next thing is noise mitigation. One of the great things, in my opinion, about the Nashville Fairgrounds is that it's in a great location. Many NASCAR tracks are a good ways off the beaten path, and they're not really in the city that they claim to be in. For example, Atlanta Motor Speedway isn't really in Atlanta, but the Fairgrounds Speedway has a fantastic location right next to downtown Nashville. Part of the renovations will be there to make sure that the noise is kept under control. This is a pretty tall order. Racing is really loud, and I'm really interested to see what kind of solutions they come up with. Bristol Motor Speedway has committed to being active in the neighborhood, making things clear when events are happening and making sure that the people living nearby are happy. I think this has the potential to be quite the adjustment for those that live just down the road from the racetrack. So I think working with them and giving some face time to those people will likely go a long way. The financial responsibilities are written in a way that greatly reduces risk for the city of Nashville. It seems they are heavily leaning on SMI's ability to generate revenue from events held at the racetrack. Bristol will have the racetrack lease for 4 weeks out of the year, so that tells me they're probably going to be booking some festivals or concerts at the venue to help pay some of the bills. They clearly have more plans for the venue aside from just hosting NASCAR races. Another thing to consider, Nashville Superspeedway has an agreement with NASCAR to hold races through 2024. So it'll be interesting to see how long these renovations take and see if the scheduling conflict causes any issues. If construction starts in late 2021 or 2022, the earliest I think we'll see the racetrack in condition to hold a NASCAR event is probably around 2024. So we'll have to kind of wait and see how that one plays out, but it's definitely something to keep an eye on. I think there are really many great opportunities to happen with this racetrack, and I think Bristol Motor Speedway and NASCAR both see it. I've said it many times before. Personally, I think NASCAR needs to hold Champions Week in Nashville and have the All-Star race that week at the Fairgrounds Speedway. Imagine having a big name artist do a mini concert beforehand, then you have the race afterwards and you broadcast it all on NBC. I think that has the potential to be a big win for the sport. One of the things I am slightly worried about though is the potential for Bristol to lose a race weekend. Obviously, the racetrack would voluntarily be giving up one of its dates to hold the races in Nashville, but I think the ideal scenario would be giving a date to Nashville from one of the intermediate tracks on the schedule. Ultimately, I think I just want to see more dates on the schedule occupied by short tracks. That's the goal. Intermediate tracks have their place, and track diversity is a good thing, but I think we could still stand to give up a few more intermediate track races. But let me know what you think in the comments. And if you haven't already, like this video, subscribe, and hit the bell icon so you know when I upload new videos. Links to my Twitter and Instagram are in the description below as well. But until next time, my name's Tyler, this is Tight End Loose Off, and I'll see you later.